Jean-Pierre Martin headed one of France's biggest construction projects. What does he make of the Great Pyramid?
Either you believe in God and in aliens and you imagine all sorts of things, or, like me, you want to keep it down to earth, believing only in man and asking yourself how he did it. I have no clue. I couldn't do it, that's for sure.
The building of the Teotihuacan Pyramid in Mexico, which is only half as tall as the Great Pyramid, took 150 years. But Egyptologists insist the pyramid at Giza took only 20 years to build. It must have been built that quickly, they say, because it was built to be Cheop's tomb.
For a long time, there was some talk, not from Egyptologists, I'd like to stress, there was some talk that the pyramids could have had another function. That is unthinkable.
But if we decide it was impossible to build the Great Pyramid in 20 years, then maybe it's time to think the unthinkable. Maybe the Great Pyramid isn't a tomb. Maybe it was built for something else. There are other sites in Egypt where blocks of uneven shape and size are used for building, but nobody knows why.
For me, this remains a complete mystery.
Without cement, those are rough stones laid side by side. This is breathtaking. These are tremendous achievements.
A razor blade couldn't fit between two blocks. They're so precisely laid. It can't have been easy.
Heavy blocks like that haven't been put back in place anytime recently.
Eric Gontier, a geologist, has an explanation.
I think they were saving material because it had to be transported from a great distance.
They did that because they were trying to save on materials.
That makes sense, especially since the quarry was 500 miles away. So how would we do this today?
We would start with a plan in order to define each piece precisely. Then we would produce each piece and afterwards reshape them to make sure that they fit together.
So is this how they did it thousands of years ago? Here the blocks are irregularly shaped, but they're a perfect match with the blocks on the other side of the corridor, a mirror image. So they can't have been set as they came, using whatever irregular shapes came from the quarry. They must have been carved into these shapes on purpose. There must be a reason for it. Could it be an ingenious solution to an age-old problem?
If you want your monument to stand strong, it needs to be heterogeneous. That will keep the wall from collapsing in the case of stress, like in an earthquake.
Since there are no modular blocks, there are no crack lines. The blocks fit into one another, which makes for a strong wall.
So the builders of the Great Pyramid over 4,000 years ago knew how to make their work earthquake-proof. Eric Gontier sums it up.
Objectively, from my own observations on the ground, each time I checked a pyramid systematically, everything had to be reconsidered.
Maybe there is also a reason the Great Pyramid was built with 8 sides, even though building with 4 sides is much easier. Back in pre-war Cairo, a professor of mathematics thought he'd found the answer. He found a photograph of the pyramid taken one night during the equinox by the Royal Air Force. It shows the south side split in two by the shadows. This only happens for a few seconds twice a year at the equinox. The rest of the time, the way the sides of the pyramid is split into 8, not 4, is invisible to the naked eye. You don't have to be at the pyramids at equinox to verify this. Here, the Great Pyramid, its shape, its dimensions, and its exact location are modeled by a modern computer program. It confirms Henri Pochon's findings.